everybody is doing good. I believe my mic might be a little muted. I hope it isn't. Please let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me okay. I think you can, because according to, at first I got a message saying that I was muted, but I guess it's not. Okay, let me see. All right, sorry about that, guys. Just a little bit of technical difficulties, but that's okay. I am here. Welcome to Embroidery Happy Hour. Thanks for joining me. I'm Jeanette, your host to Embroidery Happy Hour, and I'm from Boricua Sewing and Crafts. And what we're going to do is we're going to be talking about what people really don't talk about when you're running an embroidery business from home. I figured that this would be a really good topic for me to cover. I think I have covered this a little bit in the past, but I really wanted to get into a little more detail about some of the good stuff and also some of the bad stuff. So I kind of figured this would be perfect. But before we get into the topic for tonight, let me give you two announcements, and also let the new folks that might be watching how I actually run Embroidery Happy Hour. The first hour, I always just talk about the topic. After that, I go ahead and I go through the chat. I like to say hi to everybody, answer any questions, and share any comments that might have been discussed under the chat, because during the topic I just kind of like blur out my point of view of stuff, and then I always like to go into the chat and then afterwards to see how people feel about it. Do they feel the same way, or do they have another experience and stuff? So that's how I roll. Okay, so for the announcements before I start, we are going to be hosting our 2025 gift exchange this holiday season. The link to join the gift exchange will be posted. I have it right here on Monday, October 20th. And registration is going to be open only for a week, a week and a couple of days. It will close on October 31st. Okay, so it's really 11 days and it's going to be open. After October 31st, registration will be closed. Everybody's going to be paired off, and everyone can then start working on their gifts. And then after that, all the gifts are going to be mailed out when? December 1st. And show and tell will be hosted on December 19th. So I know that's a lot, okay? But if you're part of the Facebook group, you'll know more information about the dates. So like I said, on Monday, I will be posting the link for those of you guys that want to join in the gift exchange, okay? Also, this Saturday, which is tomorrow, I will be hosting another embroidery club meeting over at Susie's Quilt Shop. That's in Manassas, Virginia. The topic I'm going to be exploring is applique. Okay, so as I said, this is going to be the third time that the group is going to be meeting. I had asked all the attendees to give me an idea of some of the topics that they wanted me to cover. Applique was actually one of them. And then next month, what I'll be doing is I'm going to be exploring the world of patches. Okay, so tomorrow at 10:30 is Susie's Quilt Shop. That's where we're going to be meeting, and we're going to be talking all about applique. I'm just going to be teaching about it, giving a couple of demonstrations, and also showing some samples and answering any questions from the group. I've also been speaking with the shop owner, Susie, and one of the things that she wants to do is she also wants me to continue to teach at her shop, and she wants to see if I didn't mind teaching certain projects. So me and her are in the discussion of that, and we're probably going to be doing that in the near future, probably hitting that around January timeframe. So I'm going to be talking with her about certain projects that I can teach. And the whole aspect of that is going to be that people come to class, they bring their own machines, and we're going to be working on completing a project. It could be something as simple as embroidering a kitchen towel to doing it in the hoop project, and just, have a good time, just something so that everybody can just have fun and enjoy. So let's get over to tonight's topic. So tonight I wanted to talk about running an embroidery business, some of the things that people really don't discuss and tell you. Okay, so what ends up happening is a lot of times when people talk about, hey, you should do embroidery, you should run an embroidery business, blah blah blah, and everything is so rosy, right? It can be, and it can be a lot of fun, and it can be really a good experience. But the thing is, it does with everything else in life. Just like you have your good, sometimes you have your little challenges as well. I don't like to say bad because it's not really bad. It's not things that we can't overcome. But the thing is, you need to know that these are little challenges that you might come up with. So that way you can start thinking about how you're going to handle these things. Okay. So I have jotted down about like 10 things that we're going to talk about. So, and I'm going to share my experience in these areas with you guys. So that way you guys can see what is it that you really need to think about, and also what are some of the things that you can do so that when you are faced with these challenges, you can kind of take that challenge, turn it into a positive, and you're going to be fine. Okay. So like I said, running an embroidery business can be a lot of fun, but I will tell you right now, it is a lot of work. Okay. So if you are really serious about doing this as a business, you really are going to be hustling. And I mean, work, 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 like that song, like, from Rihanna, work, 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 work. Well, believe me, you're going to be working. Okay. But it's going to be fun work. It's going to be work that you enjoy. Sometimes, as with everything, there's going to be things you love to do. There's going to be things you don't like to do, but that's okay. It all comes with the territory, right? So let's talk about the first thing. The first thing you're not going to like is the cost of running an embroidery business. Everybody knows, especially you beginners out there that have just started to dive their feet into this embroidery world, you already know there is a big dollar bill with this, okay? You got your machines, you got your equipment, you got your supplies, and the list can go on and on. Software and all that stuff. The more you start to practice, the more you start to learn and everything, the more you start hearing ching, 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 and you look at your wallet, it's starting to get a little empty, right? So that's one of the reasons why a lot of people like to take embroidery and turn it into a business, because you want to get some of that money back. Okay. I will tell you, that's one of the reasons why I kind of did it. Very, very expensive. But then when my son started to go to college, college can get pretty expensive, especially when you're talking about dorms. It became a way for me to provide extra income so that way he can go to college and he can leave there debt free, right? So, it can be a good thing, you know what I'm saying? So, but the thing is, when you first start off, you're not exactly making that much money. If anything, you're spending a little bit more. So you have to keep that in the back of your mind, and you have to make sure you set up a budget for yourself, and you kind of budget yourself accordingly. Because remember, especially if you have a family and stuff like that, I don't know how you feel, but I know with me, when I first bought my very first embroidery machine, I felt guilty as crap. I mean, I was like, oh my God, especially, and it was just a single needle, and it was $1,000. And I felt really guilty buying such an expensive sewing machine. But as time came, went, as time passed, I ended up making money, and the machine kind of paid for itself, which kind of like, then I got more guilty when I decided to buy my first multi-needle machine. But then, as you start making the money, believe me, the guilt goes away. And then you're like, I got this, I can rock this, and I'm on my way, right? So it can, it's going to take a little time. Okay. So just know that up front, the very beginning, your pockets are going to kind of get emptied out a little bit. But if you are really good at what you do and you manage correctly, before you know it, your pockets are going to fill up again. The second thing, your workspace, okay? At first, when you first start, all you get is like a little machine and a couple of supplies. The space does not even dawn on you of the amount of space that you need. I mean, I myself have 2 bedrooms in my home that are dedicated to the business. Okay. I have one where I have all my embroidery machines in here, which is where I usually film from. And then in the next bedroom is where I have all my sewing equipment, my sergers and whatnot. So it can really take up a lot of space. The more invested you become, the more space you're going to need. And you're really going to have to balance that. And this is the thing also, this is a challenge that you may end up, because we're talking about running an embroidery business from home, okay? Not only are you going to have to be conscientious of your family's budget when we were talking about the cost earlier, now that I'm talking about space, you have to remember that even though you're running this business from your home, it's not just your space. It's a space that you share with your family. So you kind of have to really think about that. Okay. Like for instance, let me give you my situation. I have me, my husband, my son. My son was off at college while I was running my business. And I will tell you, it was not long for my business to kind of bleed over to the other bedroom where it was Cardito's room. Now, when Cardito came home from college, he went in his room and he sees all these sewing machines, all these blanks and stuff. And he's like, okay, Mom, where am I going to sleep? Right. So what I ended up doing was I had to go ahead and hire a contractor to build out another bedroom for us in the basement, which now he really loves because he feels like he has his own little apartment down there. So that way, he can have his space, my husband has his space, and then I have mine. So you have to be kind of conscientious of that, because it can creep up, right? Next thing you know, you're using someone else's closet. Your stuff is going to bleed into other people's bedrooms. The living room may not be a living room anymore or a dining room anymore. So it can really get out of hand. So space is something that you really have to think about and process, So in the beginning, it may not be such a big deal because you're just starting out and you have just a limited amount of supplies and all that kind of stuff. But I will tell you, when you are running it as a business, you are going to get a lot of stuff. Okay. Not everybody's going to want black thread or white thread. You're going to end up with a whole lot of thread. I mean, if you want to see, this is just a sample of the threads that I have in my room. Okay. I even have threads over here and I have threads in my sewing room next door. So, it's a lot. And then, we don't even want to talk about stabilizers and all the other stuff, your blanks and all that kind of stuff. It can really get a lot. And then before you know it, you do have to use all this equipment and all that kind of stuff. And, it can get a lot. And the equipment is not small, especially when you're talking multi-needle. Okay. Multi-needles don't come little small ones. They're kind of big. They require space. So think about that, guys. It can really turn it into a challenge. So you're going to have the conversation with your family members and discuss with them what you want to do and see how you can work with it. Okay. The other thing that I want to mention about the space that people really don't talk about is when you're running your business, how is everyone else on your home going to feel about it when you turn on all these embroidery machines, right? When you turn on the embroidery machines, there is noise, right? So if you have your, like my husband, he likes to watch. He has his office right across from my embroidery room, and he likes to watch his Today Show. He loves the Today Show. He's a big fan of that. Okay. I already know during that time period, don't turn on the machines because that's his time, right? So I have to respect that, So I let him watch his show, and I kind of use that time for me to set up my machines or just do regular maintenance, like change my needles and stuff like that. Or look at all my orders and organize them and all that kind of stuff. So you have to kind of be conscientious of that. You really do, because these machines can be pretty noisy. And because they're noisy, also make sure that you set them up in a way where you can kind of prevent it as being really annoying to people. Like, for instance, I ended up getting mats, and I put those mats underneath my embroidery machine. So that way, when they're embroidering, it's not really like shaking the walls and everything like that. Because before that, the mats, my family would go downstairs and they would be having dinner, and you could hear the machines and you could hear them on the ceiling, and they would be eating, looking up, thinking the embroidery machines are going to crash down the ceiling or something. So you want to make sure that you think of all those things. It's not just a workspace for you. You got to remember you're at home. So you're also with your family, and you have to respect them, their space, and make sure that the home stays a home as well, not just a business. So it can be a kind of a catch-22. A lot of people don't talk about that because I don't know why, but you really do need to. And that's a challenge that is going to creep up. You want to make sure that you have that discussion with your family so that you guys know exactly how you're going to work things out, right? I mean, sometimes you can come up with a schedule, like I said, my husband likes to watch his Today Show. So I always try to make sure that I'm not disturbing him during that time period. And then sometimes, I'll embroider at night because, maybe someone needs quiet or something like that. So those are things you have to think about. Okay. It's not, it's something that can work, but it can really become a problem if the discussion isn't had, right? If you don't sit down and talk about them and say, this is what I love to do, this is what I want to do, this is, I want to know how everyone in the home feels and how can we work this out. Very, very, very important. Okay. A lot of people don't talk about the noise, but I'm going to talk about it. Okay. Because it can be a problem. All right. So let's talk about the third thing, which is time. All right. Now, a lot of times people have this perception and they go, well, it's my business. It's going to be on my terms, my time, my this, my that. Well, you know what? It could be, but then at the same time, it can't be. Okay. You have to cater to your customers. Okay. Now, I'm not saying whatever the customer says is right. Okay. It depends on how you want to run your business. However, though, if you are serious about your business and you want to make money, you have to work with your customers. Sometimes your customers don't work at certain time frames for you, right? So there are going to be times when I have to meet a customer late at night because they're business owners themselves. They can't meet with me while they're meeting with their customers. So sometimes I have to wait for them to shut down their shop and then have a meeting with them. And they'll come over and we'll just, have a glass of wine together and we'll go over their project and stuff like that. And sometimes it can be 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, but I have to be available if I want to get that order and I want their business. So time is going to be pretty challenging, okay, especially for some. Some people, have the idea and say, hey, I'm going to start my business at 8 o'clock and I'm going to shut it down at 1 every morning. That's okay. You can do that, but just know that not everybody can be accommodated during that time frame, right? So you're going to have to be flexible. The other thing also is you're going to have to really be smart with your time. Now, I used to work full time. Okay. I used to get up 3 o'clock in the morning. I was in the office at 6. I got out of the office at 3. I didn't get home till like 4:30, 5 o'clock. And then I would come here to turn on these machines and start working. All right. I don't know how the hell I did it, but I did. Okay. And now I'm retired. So I have more time that I could dedicate to orders. Okay. So you could quickly turn into burnout also. So even though I tell you, you have to be flexible and be able to accommodate your customers, at the same time, I'm telling you, you have to take care of the number one person, and that's you. Okay. And, you're the worker, you're the owner, you're the worker, you're the everything. Without you, nothing's going to get done, and you can get burned out pretty quickly. So make sure that you're taking your breaks. Make sure that if you feel very overwhelmed, take those days off. Just shut down and say, I'm not working these 2 days. I want to do something different, and just block it down on your calendar. I have a appointment book that I keep track. I write down all my orders on my appointment book. I schedule them all when I'm going to meet with customers and everything. Guess what I do in my appointment book also? I actually block out time for me. Okay. And sometimes I do it just for the weekend. Sometimes if I can't do it on the weekend because I have to meet with customers, believe me, I'll find the time. I'll if I can't take off Saturday and Sunday, I'm off Monday and Tuesday, or I'll take out Wednesday and Thursday or whatever. But you know what? Jeanette's going to take care of Jeanette. Okay. So I really, really highly recommend that you guys think about that. Okay. Think about, making sure you take care of you, because this can get very, very, very overwhelming really quickly. Okay. And when you are a business owner, you're thinking about your business 24/7. A lot of times people think, oh, it's not, you could just do it here and then do it there. That's not true. I mean, I will tell you, I sleep, breathe everything embroidery. Okay. I'm always thinking about my next customer. I'm always thinking about the orders that I have to do. I'm always trying to schedule them. I have to, analyze new orders that are coming in. How am I going to price these orders and stuff like that? I'm always in a constant move. Okay. So, you're always going to be thinking about your business. And if you're not even thinking about your orders, what you are going to be thinking about is improving your skills, training yourself, doing other stuff, meeting up with other embroiderers so that you can up your skill level and everything, training. You got to do schedule maintenance for your machines. Okay. Don't forget about that. That takes time. All right. Changing a lot of needles. I change a lot of needles every week. I oil these machines every week. I mean, it takes a lot. Okay. So, that's something that a lot of people don't talk about, but it's like something that's really, really, really have to, it's something you got to consider. The other thing that I wanted to mention, okay, is friends, families, and your customers. They could get on your nerves. Okay. I'm going to tell you right up front, they can get on your nerves. Love them. We do. We love our friends. We love our family. And we love our customers. But you can have some challenging folks out there, guys. Okay. You got people out there that sometimes you're like, really? Really? Okay. So you got to understand, not really understand, know how to handle it. Okay. Got to know how to handle it. If you don't, I'm going to tell you guys something right up front, you got to have the thick skin. If you don't have the thick skin, you're going to get trampled on. You're not going to do well. Okay. You got to know when you should take an order and when you should turn down an order. Okay. Sometimes people are, in my opinion, they get kind of soft. They're pretty afraid. They don't want to price their items accordingly. And then they gyp themselves and then they feel like crap because they know they didn't get paid what they should have gotten paid. And you have to watch it. Okay. You really do. Sometimes also what happens is you're running your embroidery business. A lot of times people will take you seriously, especially like friends and family, because they've known you for so long. And this is a new adventure that you're going into. And you're like, okay, I'm starting a business, and you start doing your stuff. And they look at it as it's just something that you do for your extra time. They don't realize that it's something that you're doing to get an income coming in. And sometimes they can take advantage of your business. They could think that, oh, you have all the equipment. Why don't, can you just do this for me? And they'll just ask for projects and they don't, they're like, when you give them an invoice, they kind of look at you like, oh, you got some nerve, invoice me. You know what I'm saying? So it can be a little problematic. So you gotta think to yourself how you're going to handle certain situations. And when people get kind of snarky, and they're like, oh, well, they don't want to take what you are doing seriously. You got to learn how to block that. You got to learn how to block that negativity and just don't feed into it. You know what you're doing. What you're doing is for you. It's not for them. And if they don't know how to appreciate it, they don't know how to respect it. You got to learn how to block it off, grow that thick skin, and just keep going, move forward, and don't look back. I mean, if that's their loss, it's your gain. Okay. So, but you got to make sure that you are very focused on your business and that you know what you're worth, your value, and you just keep marching on. Okay. You're also going to have customers that are going to try to challenge you. Okay. Not every customer is a good customer. I've said this plenty of times in the past. So don't be afraid to say no. I mean, this is your dream. This is what you want to do. You do it because you love doing it. This is not a freebie or anything like that. Even if you, let's say, don't want to price too high, you don't want to price to the point where you lose. Okay. Your machine uses electricity. There's wear and tear on your machine. That machine was expensive. Thread's expensive. Stabilizer's expensive. Your time is worth something. Okay. So make sure that you are pricing accordingly. Okay. Don't let people take advantage of you. If you are kind of soft and stuff like that, or I don't want to sound mean. Okay. I don't want to say people are soft, but let's say you just you don't feel that you have that thick skin to like confront people and say, hey, no, this isn't an order I want to take, or no, whatever. Then one of the recommendations that I say that would probably work for you better is to just run the business online. Okay. That way you're really not face to face with people, and you can just offer service online, open up like an Etsy shop or open up a TikTok shop or something like that. That way it's like you have an item that you want to provide. People just order it, and then you go ahead and you make it and you ship it out. Very little interaction goes on that way. And it's just a little more easier for you. Because remember, you don't want that added stress if you find that that's just too much for you. I don't want to say you can't handle it. It's just a little bit too much. You got to remember, we all have different personalities. Like you could, like me and my sister, we have different personalities and stuff. And I know with me, I have absolutely no problem letting people know up front, and Nancy will tell you. I mean, there have been times where she has told me like, damn, Jeanette, I can't believe you told that person that. I'm like, hey, I'm being honest, but you have to, if you have it in you, then I would say you could do the online, and you can also do in person embroidery business. Okay. Where you have no problem meeting with customers, looking at their requirements, and this is your price and your firm, right? And stuff. If you have that thick skin, you're good with all that, then I say go ahead and you can do it that way. If you feel like very uncomfortable or something like that, and you just don't feel like, like, oh God, what if I give them a price and then they're going to come back and I don't feel right or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, I mean, personally, when somebody comes out and tells me, that's too much, I just go, I'm not the embroiderer for you, because that's the price. You need to go find someone else that's going to do your order. I don't do the back and forward. I don't negotiate. I do tell them, I say, this is the price. This is why it's priced at this much. Okay. Because I believe in fair pricing. But one thing I don't believe is for you to get a bargain and you feel great and I feel like crap. That's just not going to happen. But like I said, everyone has different personalities. So depending on your personality and how you want to deal with folks, that will determine how you want to run your embroidery business. Some people just do online only. I do local and online. And I will tell you my perspective, doing it local is so profitable for me. Okay, because I get bulk orders from a lot of other small business owners that live around me, and I get a lot of them. And sometimes it could get a little overwhelming because it's just me. But and then I have my online Etsy shop, which does okay, but it can really get overwhelming if I end up with a lot of orders on Etsy and then I have my orders locally. But I like to do a lot of custom embroidery. But like I said, depends on your personality and stuff like that. So just think about that. Think about your friends, think about your family, and think about your customers and how you're going to handle that kind of stuff. It can be challenging. It really, truly can be challenging. It can also be a lot of fun. I've met some really great people running my embroidery business locally. Fantastic, great people that, I mean, love having conversations with them. I know, and I feel like we've become really good friends, but what I really like, especially when I work with other small business owners, is that because they run a business themselves, it's like, I feel like they have a better understanding of working with other business owners. So I like that respect aspect of it. So, it just depends. So, like I said, depends on your personality, but do watch out for that. It can be a pleasure, but then it can also be a nightmare at the same time. Okay. Now, so let's talk about management of the business side. All right. This is something that hardly nobody ever talks about. Turning on your machines, embroidering items, fun stuff. But if you are running a legit business, there's a lot of things in there that are not embroidery that you're going to have to do. Okay. You're going to have to get your business license. You're going to have to register with your state. You're going to have to start collecting your sales tax. You're going to have to pay your taxes. You're going to have to get with a good accountant. You better have good accounting software. You got to track everything regarding your business. Okay. You got to track the expenses of the machines, the supplies, the equipment, everything, all your expenses, all your profits, all your sales. I mean, there is a big list of that stuff. The other thing too that people don't talk about, and you need to, is a lot of homes now, especially the newer homes, are being built in HOA communities. One of the things that I know that where I live is you have to register your home with your HOA. Okay. A lot of times people don't do that. And let me tell you what happens. Next thing you know, you're in trouble because you got a neighbor that complained, or you ended up with a lot of delivery trucks coming in and all that kind of stuff, people leaving stuff all over your porch and all that kind of stuff. If you are living in an HOA community, one of the best things to do is to reach out to them, let them know that you're running a business from your home, and let them know what is it that you need to do to make sure that it's okay with them. Okay. If you have a whole bunch of trucks that are showing up and you got all these packages all over, you best believe you can run into some complications. So I know where I live, what they do is they just tell you to go ahead and register with them, let them know you exist, and they do give you a piece of paper and they do tell you what the rules are. Okay. Like, for instance, they don't want a whole bunch of 20, 25 cars, 30 cars surrounded your house every single day. Okay. They don't want packages to be hanging out on your front porch, and I'm not talking about 1 or 2 packages. Okay. I'm talking about 4, 5 packages. And sometimes I can get packages that are of that large amount. Okay. Of a lot of blanks, especially when I have huge bulk orders. So what I do to make sure that I'm aligned with the HOA guidelines is I let my customers know that I have to be there to accept delivery of those items. So what they'll do is when they come to my home, they are really like from their truck inside my home. It's not on the front porch sitting all day, because it can be an eyesore. Okay. So you got to make sure that you are actually, working with your community and stuff like that. And it can be a really good thing too. A lot of times people say, oh, I don't want the HOA to know my business. Well, I'm going to tell you something about the HOA. Because they know that this is what I do, I get a lot of business from them. Okay. Sometimes they have events in the community. They need embroidery to be done, and they'll reach out to me, and I'm like, sure, I can embroider polo shirts for you guys. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I can do that. And it's great. So, make sure that you have a full understanding of what the rules and regulations are where you live so that you can run your business successfully and peacefully. Because you got to remember, just like we were talking before, how I had mentioned the workspace in your home, it's not all about you. Okay. Your family shares that home with you. All right. So when you're talking about workspace for your business, you got to respect them. And it's the same aspect of outside your home. Okay. If you're living in a community that has an HOA and has lots of other homes, okay, it's not just about your business and you. Your home sits in a community with other homes. So if you want your neighbors to respect you, you got to respect them as well. Okay. So make sure that you understand that and that you play by the rules. Okay. Because the way I look at it is, when you put bad energy out there, it could come back and bite you. And when it comes back to bite you, you ain't got nobody to blame but you. Okay. So always be honest and always, just do the right thing. That's really what I say. All right. So also make sure, let me see. I want to make sure that I covered everything. Okay. Business software. Make sure you talk to your lawyer. Make sure you have an accountant and all that kind of stuff. A bookkeeper. If you need a bookkeeper, hire a bookkeeper. I hired one because I was doing QuickBooks. Even my sister does QuickBooks, but since she lives in Florida, she can't really jump and help me all the time. So I ended up hiring someone in my neighborhood. Okay. And she does my books for me. And I love it because she keeps me on track. And she's like, okay, this is how much money you made this month, and you're doing good and whatever. So it's something that you got to do. So there's a lot of things on the business side besides turning on that machine and embroidering products that you have to think about. So it's not sexy, it's not the good stuff, it's not what you like to do, but you got to do it. Okay. All right. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is combating loneliness. Okay. When you are running an embroidery business, all right, you are stuck in the room a lot of times by yourself running orders. I know I can speak from experience, okay? It's just me that runs this business alone, all right? So a lot of times what happens is people come, they drop off their blanks and all that kind of stuff, and then I have to turn on all my machines, and then I'm just embroidering all day. It's a good thing because I'm doing what I love to do. Okay. I usually put on my headphones and I listen to soft music, which kind of tones out the machine's noise, but it kind of can be a little lonely too. Okay. Sometimes I don't get that interaction with people like I normally would. And your life kind of changes a little bit, right? So I'm not like before embroidering. I used to go to wineries with a lot of friends and stuff like that. I used to do a lot of different things. Then all of a sudden, what happens is my life kind of shifted a little bit. It's starting to get hot here, so I'm going to put the fan on. So, let's see. Uh-oh. It's not on. Hold on. I think I got to put this on. Oh, I forgot to put the other light on. All right, so let me put this fan on. Okay, starting to get hot. All right, so and it's not menopause. Well, I'm going through that, but it's not. It's really hot in here. So, now it feels good. All right, so anyway, you can get lonely, right? So it's something that you have to be conscientious of. You want to stay social, all right? So yeah, I do interact with my customers and stuff like that. So there's a little interaction there too, but you want to make sure that you take care of you. So one of the things that I started doing so that I could get that social aspect is I started the embroidery club at Susie's Quilt Shop, right? I wanted to do that because I want to see people, okay? I'm still seeing people, but I'm talking about embroidery. So I'm still doing what I love to do, but I get out of the house and I actually, talk to people, teach people, and stuff like that. And I actually love doing it. I really do. I think it's a lot of fun. The other thing is, remember when I was talking to you guys about time? That time, sometimes you're going to have to be flexible and stuff. Well, when I schedule that time off, right? And I say, I'm not going to work Wednesday this week. Okay. And I X out that day on my book. And what I do is I don't stay home. Okay. I say, I'm going to get up in the morning. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go to the gym. And then I'm going to meet up with a friend, and I'm going to go to a wine, and I'm going to do something different and stuff like that. I put it on the back burner. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Even though I am off and I'm trying to be social and all that kind of stuff, when you're running an embroidery business, you are going to be thinking about it all the time, okay? Because you're going to be thinking about, am I marketing my business right? I got all these upcoming orders. I have to think about how I'm going to price these items and all that kind of stuff. That's all going to go through your head, right? But you got to socialize. You got to get out there. It can get kind of lonely, okay? The other thing, too, is reach out to groups, okay? See if you can meet up with other embroiderers and stuff like that, and talk about your craft. Try to socialize with other people that have those type of interests. Your life is going to change. I'm telling you, it will change. I had a lot of friends. Oh, and Mello wants to say hi. Oh, there he is. Okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, there he is. You want to say hi? Oh, he's coming. Okay. So anyway. So your life is going to change a little bit, okay? But the thing is, you want to make sure that you kind of stay mentally healthy, So you want to take care of you, like I said, socialize with people and all that kind of stuff, So, it can get kind of lonely, because what ends up happening is you're always in that room, with the machines going and going and going and going. So try to think about that. All right. So it kind of goes in line with what I had down here for number 7. Okay. Work. You're going to be thinking about your business all the time, because it's yours. You own it. It's your baby, right? You want your business to thrive. You want it to do well. I mean, it's exciting when someone comes to you to work on an embroidery project, and then you sit down and you do the invoice, and then, you get paid, and then all of a sudden you got the machines running and you create it, and then they come and they pick it up and they love it. It's a very exciting feeling. It's so satisfying, and I just love it. So, it's fun. But the thing is, it is something that you're always going to be thinking about, okay? You're going to be also thinking about how you're going to market your business, how you're going to advertise the business. You're also all going to be thinking about your business in the aspect of how you are running it, right? One of the things that, I tell people is, as you get more involved in running your business, you're going to be thinking about how you're doing things, right? My business processes, am I packaging, when I'm embroidering, right? And I did a video a while back on how I actually do bulk orders. Sometimes you have to think, do I have the right assembly line where I'm making the best out of my time, right? I'm not wasting any time. I'm filling these orders, timely. Do I have the right equipment? You're going to be looking at all that stuff. You're going to be reviewing things in your head all the time. And that's something that is constant. All right. It is constant. Like last week, I gave you guys a little tour of my sewing room. And I told you guys, when I was giving you guys the tour, that I changed that furniture around like 5-6 times, okay, rearranging it, because one of the things that I did was I was thinking about the process of when I'm sewing, okay? I want the iron to be at a certain area where I can reach it when I need it. I want the cutting board to be in a specific area where I can cut my fabric and I can sew. Your routine, your process, how you do things and stuff. So you got to make sure that you are always reviewing that. And sometimes At one time, you could be thinking, I got my business process down, straight, and it is good. Well, I'm going to tell you, as time goes on, your business process will have to be revamped. Okay. Because things are going to change. Things are going to come up. All right. So you're going to have to rethink things. So never think that what you have today is going to be solid. You've got to be flexible. Just like you got to be flexible with your time, you're also going to have to be flexible with how you handle your business as well. What worked today may not work tomorrow. So always think about that, okay? Now, I know this can sound like a lot, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to pretty it up. I'm going to, I'm honest, okay? It's not a very simple thing. You're talking about running a business, putting money in your pocket, providing a service to other people. This takes work, all right? So I know that you probably see a lot of videos of people and they're all smiling, going, "Ooh, I'm making money and I'm doing this and that, whatever." It's not all about that, okay? There's going to be, what you don't see is there's going to be times when the machine went belly up, the needles broke, or they ended up, getting the order wrong, or they had a bad customer or something like that. You hardly see people doing videos on that, right? You always see them where they're happy-go-lucky, everything is great, everything is gravy and all that kind of stuff. And I'm here to tell you, it's not like that all the time, okay? You're gonna have your moments, all right? So just mentally prepare yourself for when those challenges come. The other thing is your skill set, and I can't say it enough. I mean, I was watching Lily Anna the other day, and she mentioned a little bit about this. She said she gets a lot of customers that have gone to certain embroiderers and jacked up their stuff, and then next thing you know, they take it to her, and she has to undo the stitches and redo the embroidery. Your skill set is what represents you and your business. Bottom line, if you're not up to par, then you better not open up those doors. I am telling you right now, because a reputation is so important. If you don't know what you're doing, then keep it as a hobby until you beef up that skill set, and then you can do it. All right. Though, whatever you do, that embroidery represents you. It talks about you. Think of that embroidery as like a gossiper. Okay. That little patch you did or whatever it is that you did, it is going to gossip about you. There is no shame in the game. It is going to say something about you. And the last thing you wanted to say was, this one, this person, this guy, this girl, whatever it is, the embroiderer didn't know what the hell they were doing. Look at me. Look how crazy I look. Okay. You don't want the embroidery to scream that. That embroidery that you created needs to scream fabulous, gorgeous, crisp and clean, can't be any better, great. That's what you want that embroidery to say, because that is going to speak about you. Okay. So make sure you know what you're doing. Okay. Make sure that you are always practicing. Make sure that you are understanding what you're doing, how you're doing it. And that you also not just, and I always say this when I talk to people, don't just take an order, understand the order. Know what is going to happen to that item when it leaves your shop. How is it going to be handled? Okay. If you're not asking those right questions, you're not going to know how to do the embroidery in such a way that it's going to last a long time. So you got to make sure that you know what you're doing. All right. If you don't open up those doors. You're not ready. Okay. The other thing, the equipment maintenance, time consuming and very expensive. Okay. I mean, I spend every year about $1,500, okay, to maintain all my equipment. And we're just talking regular schedule maintenance. 7 machines have to get maintained on a yearly basis, all right? So I am telling you guys, it is time consuming and it is a must. A lot of times people, what they do is they say, I'm not going to maintain my machine, or they do a semi maintenance on their machine. And then next thing you know, they run that machine to the point where now it's malfunctioning and now they have to get it serviced. And guess what? It costs you more money because you didn't do the right thing. All right. You didn't oil it the way you were supposed to oil it. You didn't have that scheduled annually, like you're supposed to. So I'm telling you, a lot of times people like to cut corners. Just like I say, when, you got to change those needles. People have a needle and they say, well, the needle's not broken. It's fine. Yeah, but you know what? It's a dull needle now. And you're embroidering with a dull needle. So now your hole in your embroidery design is going to be bigger. It's the quality of that embroidery is going to go bad. And then all of a sudden, now your thread is shredding. It's like, come on, guys, get with the program. Okay. Hello, there's a reason for certain things that have to happen. So, you got to understand how to maintain your stuff. You really do. And if you are serious about running an embroidery business, okay, I'm not talking about hobby, and I'm not talking about doing things for your friends and family. Your friends and family, believe me, they don't care. I'm not saying they don't care, but you know what I mean? They're not going to look at the embroidery and scrutinize it as much as a paying customer, okay? Paying customers have a certain level of expectation. You got to make sure that you're meeting that expectation or exceeding it, okay? So that way, you're doing what you're supposed to do. So, make sure that you are maintaining your equipment. And this is the other thing too. It's kind of like when you have a car and you drive that thing, and if it's a gas car, and let's say you never change the oil. And then all of a sudden now your engine's all messed up and all that kind of stuff. Well, if you didn't treat that car right, it's not going to treat you right. It's the same thing with the embroidery machine. You got to make sure that you show it its love. You got to hug it and care for it. And you got to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do if you want that machine to perform the way you expect it to perform. So it's kind of like, a give and take here. All right. So you got to make sure you take care of that machine if you want that machine to take care of you, and you want to make sure that your business is running smooth. Okay. The other thing that I want to talk to you guys about, okay, it's something that Bob kind of mentioned in the very beginning of this chat. I saw it, Bob. Okay. You guys need to know what type of embroidery you can do and what you can't do. Copyright, be careful. You will get sued. I'm telling you, they will come after you. They may not catch you today, but they may catch you tomorrow. You do not want to run your embroidery business looking behind your shoulder, your back, and all that kind of stuff and everything. You better understand copyright laws. You better make sure that you get business insurance. And you better make sure that when you do have someone that has a logo, that you get the proper documentation to show that you have the permission to actually do that logo, okay? I have a lot of customers that have come to me, especially in the medical field, okay? They have come to me and said, I have a scrub and I want you to put the hospital logo on it. And I'm like, I'm not going to get sued by them. Now, I do have a contract with a hospital in Northern Virginia, and I do their embroidery, but I have a contract with them, okay? I have the documentation giving me permission to do the logo. And my customer is the actual hospital. So their doctors and nurses and stuff like that can't come to me and say, can you do my jacket or whatever? I have to actually get it from the actual entity itself. They come and they put in the bulk orders. So those employees have to put the order in with the hospital, and then the hospital brings me all the orders. I do the orders, and then they give it to their employees. Okay. Now, how much those employees are charged or whatever, that ain't my business. Okay. My business is between me and the hospital. But you got to make sure that if you are working with customers and they come to you and they ask you, can you do, a Louis Vuitton logo or a Gucci logo, or can you do a Disney? Can you do you know, uh, uh, a big company logo or something like that, you make sure that you have the proper documentation, okay? Because I will tell you, you can get in trouble for that if they end up finding out that that embroidery came from your shop. So I'm not no lawyer, but I'm gonna tell you something right now. I don't know, what can happen. Nothing ever happened to me because I just don't do it. Okay. I always, when I get logos, I look them up. I make sure that they're not copyright. If they are copyright, I tell them I need the documentation. If they cannot provide me the documentation, I just won't do it. Okay. They're going to have to find somebody else to do it. The way I look at it is you got to find the sucker to do it, because this one ain't the sucker. Okay. Because I'm not getting sued for nobody. Because trust me, when you get that documentation that you got to go to court and pay those fines and all that kind of stuff, that customer is gone. They don't care. They don't care. Okay. And I am not going to lose a bunch of money just so that I can make a couple of bucks from a customer. So, know what you can do, know what you can't do. And I'm going to be honest, if you're iffy and you're not even sure, play it safe. Don't take the order. Don't take the order. Okay. I mean, what you can do, if this scares you and you're like, gee, I don't know if this is something that I want to get involved with, you can still do embroidery, locally. Just offer you can offer the services where you personalize items. Bring the items to me and I'll personalize it for you and stuff like that. But just don't do the logos, because that's the option that I give to some medical staff that come to me and they say, oh, I want the hospital logo on it. I say, nope, I can't do that. You don't have the copyright for it. What I do tell them is I say the alternative that I can do is I can put your name on the scrub. I can put your name on your doctor's jacket with your credentials on it. I can do that. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll say, okay, I'll take that. So make sure that you take care of you, okay? Because that can be a really serious thing. I see it a lot. People lose their Etsy shops over copyright. People lose a lot of stuff. They get sued and all that kind of stuff and everything. Don't put yourself in that position. Okay. If you are unsure of what you need to do, make sure if you have a friend that's an attorney or something, do the research. And even if you're still not sure and don't do it. The best thing to do is just don't get your hands dirty at all, because if something happens, you're going to really upset yourself. Okay. So guys, those are the 10 things that I have for you guys tonight. And what time is it? Did I pass? Oh, look at that. 8:57. 1 hour. I'm getting better at this, ain't I? So I'm going to go over to the chat, guys, and I am going to look at that. Look what Debbie wrote. See? A woman did a whole YouTube video crying that she'd been warned by Etsy to remove all the copyright material. She continued and they shut her down. See, and Debbie, and this is the thing. I don't mean to be hard, but okay, now you're crying. You got the warning. You knew you were doing wrong. Come on. It's like, I don't know. Well, it's just me. It's just me. This is just how I do things, okay? Do the right thing from the very beginning, and that way you don't have to worry about it. It's the same thing like when people talk about, especially around August 15th, people talking about taxes. You'll be amazed how many people I've seen. I've overheard these conversations on how they could cheat on taxes. And I'm like, oh my God, just follow the rules. Just do what you're supposed to do. God, it's like, why? Is it really worth it? I mean, it's like, I don't know. For me, it's not. I believe in doing it right. Just do it right and you don't got to worry about it. Okay. I mean, it's like, you don't get far by doing the wrong thing. So see, I mean, to me, it's like, ugh. So Bob is first again. Hey, Bob. And yes, I saw this comment. Apparently, nobody tells people not to bootleg Nike. It's not even a high-end brand. What are they thinking? At least bootleg Piranha has some standards. I mean, this is how I look at what. Don't even go there. Don't go there, guys. Is it really worth it? And I'm going to be honest with you, okay? I see this a lot. Sometimes people, what they do, especially with the Disney stuff, okay, is they make all this stuff with Disney on it, and then they sell it, and they're like, "Oh, I made a sale." All right, whatever. Okay, you made that sale, but I'm gonna tell you something. First of all, you're taking a risk, and Disney doesn't play. They will come after you if they find you. But this is something that I want you guys to think about. Don't you think the sale would have been more satisfactory or satisfying? That's really the word I wanted to use. The sale would have been more satisfying if it was something that you yourself created instead of copying from someone else. Okay? I mean, you take a design, copy it, and then you sell it. It's like, for me personally, I love it when I create my own stuff and then people buy the stuff I made. Because right there, I feel like, wow, they liked what I did, what I made from scratch, and stuff. So people really need to think about it. And this is the other thing too, that I want you guys to think about. If you're always copying, right? And that's how you're running your business. How long do you think, or how far do you think you're going to go? Honestly, because the creativity is not yours. It's not something that you do. All you're doing is copy. Are you going to copy for forever from everybody? And honestly, I feel like people that do that are usually the people that they start off and they don't last, because you can only copy so much, So to me, it's like, I love embroidery because of the creativity, but you have to always create. Now, there's a difference between copying and going with the, what do you call that? When there's like a area of time where people just jump on something, right? It's like what they call it, a fag or something like that. Sometimes what happens is during time you have a whole bunch of people and they're like, oh my God, I like doing this. It's like, it's hot at the moment. There's an item that's really hot. It's a hot selling item. You can do different variations of that item. Okay. But the thing is when you do stuff like that, sometimes I feel like, yeah, you can do it, but you're always chasing the next hot thing, right? So, it's like you're always chasing it, right? So I don't know. It's just, I just have a certain feeling about it, I mean, to me, it's like, what you do is what you want to do, right? I'm not telling anybody it's right or wrong or whatever, but what I'm saying is, when you're running your own business and stuff like that, you got to think about, what is your goal with this business? How far you want to take it? What do you want it to be all about? What's your mission, your vision for it, right? So you gotta just think about that and stuff. What is that you want to do? So yeah, but anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Hey, SK, how are you? And Jenny came in second. Hey, girl, how you doing? Hi. I see Cindy. How are you? Hey, Robin, how you doing? Oh, my mouse not working. Okay. Hey, Robin. Let's see. Hey, Emma, I see you. How you doing? Hey, Cindy, how are you? Sound okay? Good. I wasn't blocked out. Hey, Thomas, how you doing? Welcome. Hey, Deborah, how are you? Pretty eyes, how you doing? Hey, Bernardino, how you doing? Hey, Marlene, how are you? Was on a cruise last Friday. Oh my God. Oh, I was thinking about cruise. I was like, I gotta take one day. And so I see Cynthia. How are you? How you doing? Hey, Iris. How you doing? Um, hey, Miss Miller, how are you? Happy Friday to you too. Hey, Deborah, how you doing? Um, let's see, going down here. Let's see, going down. Hey, Angela and Stitches, how you doing? How are you? Um, hey, so creative is in the house. Hey, Robin, how are you? Um, Oh, okay, Linda. Any way you can take the classes you do in purpose for the rest of us that can't drive there. I will talk to Susie and see what we can do. I do have to talk to the owner and stuff. I went there last week. She was on vacation and stuff. And I was talking to her son. So we're kind of debating it. We're going back and forward and stuff. So Linda, I don't know. I might maybe I'll do a video and stuff, because the thing is I have to think about the people that show up. They may not want to be on camera. Not everybody likes to be on camera and stuff like that, but maybe we can film the steps of what we're making and how we're making it, so I can probably do that. And so I'll see, Linda. I have been thinking about it, because that is something that you're not the only one that asked. Several people have asked. So I'm gonna see it. Let me have a conversation with Susie and see how she feels about it and stuff like that. So, I'll definitely let you guys know, and on what she says and stuff. Hey Deborah, how are you? Happy Friday. Let's see. Hey Eleanor, how you doing? Bob said, not so much that I dislike about embroidery, just a list of things that I did that I know not to do. Only thing is it makes it hard is I'm not feeling well and I'm not sleeping enough. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I don't know if you guys remember, but if any of you guys have been watching me for quite some time, actually know that when I was working full time, there were times when I only got an hour sleep. And I used to get my sleep on the bus, going to work and coming home. And as soon as I got home, I had to change out of my suit, put on my sweatpants, and turn on these machines and start working. So, hey, Mello. So, it got, it got a lot. So it can be kind of tiring. It really can. Iris said, I'm trying to stay away from Hobby Lobby and Michael's for now. Oh my God. Oh, fabric went up like 60%. Everything is going up. Everything is, everything is going up, Bob. I mean, it's really, I don't know what to say, guys, about that. I mean, it's like I'm really interested in finding out what's going to be the cost of the new Brother 10 needle machine. Okay, I know how much I paid for the ones that I have in shop right now, but one of the things that I saw when I was over at the Sewing and Quilt Show was when I looked at the new Brother machine, I saw there really wasn't much of a difference that I would have benefited from, right? And then I was asking about like what the machine came with, and I really didn't feel that you were getting the best bang for your buck, like I did when I bought my third machine. Third machine came with a stand, it came with dookie frames, it came with a hat frame, it came with the table. Now you don't get the table, and I'm going to tell you, I use my table all the time when I'm embroidering blankets. So it's kind of concerning to me, a little bit, because the prices have really risen. And because the prices have risen on supplies, machines, and all that kind of stuff, you best believe that means our prices are going to go up, right? So I can't charge the same that I used to charge. So my price is gently going to have to go up, because I have to cover the expenses. I don't want to eat up my profits, just, because somebody's got to pay it, right? And it's unfortunate, But at the end of the day, it's really the customer that pays it, So it sucks. It really sucks. It sucks for us that run a business, and it sucks for the customers, because it's a no-win situation. That's how I see it. No, I don't see where the winners are. So it's kind of sad, but I'm hoping we can all survive it and stuff. And Bernardino said, I really wish there was another place to shop for fabric where I could go in person. I like to feel the fabric and see the weight. Bernardino, I feel the same way. That's one of the things that I really missed about Joann's. I would go in there and it was a store of nothing but fabrics. And I loved, and I'm with you, I loved going in, actually looking at the bulk of fabric, feeling the fabric, I used to like that. And I liked having the variety of the different types of fabric all in one shop. I really miss that. So it's like if I needed to buy vinyl, or I needed to buy fleece, or I wanted to have twill, or I wanted to have cotton for quilting. And if I wanted different colors and stuff like that, it is hitting all of us pretty hard. On all of this. I mean, it sucks. It really, really does suck. I know that Michaels is doing what they can to try to offer fabric, but it's not the same. And to me, it's not the same as like going into Joann's. And I understand that Hobby Lobby's got their little section of fabric, but like I said, not the same. Joann has such a big selection of it that, it was the place to go. It really, really, truly was. And now we are kind of screwed, because it's like, if you want to physically touch the fabric, you're either going to have to go to Joann's or Michael's, unless you are fortunate enough to live close to a sewing shop. Like I do live close to Susie's. Susie has fabric in her shop, and which I like, because like Bernardino said, you get to touch it, feel it and stuff. But her shop is only so big. It's not as big as Joann's. So, and she sells a lot of, it's more quilting, which is fine, because that's what I mostly use. But it's not, it's like, what can you do? Right. And I know that I was talking to my neighbor, and she mentioned there's other shops out there that sell fabric. So I'm definitely going to have to get in my car and start driving, because I want to support them. In a way, it's a good thing that Joann closed. Okay, I'm trying to think of it positive. All right, because everything that negative has a little positive. Due to them closing, any mom and pop shops, those small businesses out there that offer this, now have a better opportunity of servicing customers, right? Because sometimes, when you have a big commercial shop like Joann's that is in the game, a lot of times people go there and they kind of ignore the small quilting shops. So now that Joann is gone, more and more people are now looking for these small little shops so that they can buy their fabric from. So, it could be, it's a bad thing, but at the same time, for people like Miss Susie and other little small businesses out there, it can be a good thing for them, because now they get to sell more, hopefully. People go there and stuff like that. So yeah. Let's see. I was running all over to find items that my customers want me to embroider. I stopped that. If they want something in particular, I tell them to go get it, and I just charge them for my services. Marlene, that's exactly how I do it. And honestly, that's how I run it as well. Because like you said, you're running all over the place to find items that your customers want you to embroider. Sometimes there have been times when people say, how come you don't have shirts in your shop? Well, you know what? I'll tell you where to get the shirts. I know some. There's a wholesaler right by me. My thing is space. I don't want to have a warehouse. Like I said, this is a home. Okay, it's not just me. Carlito lives here. Mello lives here. Fred lives here. I have to respect that. So I just tell people, please get your items, and I charge for the embroidery services as well. What ends up happening is, the other thing that people have to think about is people have different expectations and wants when it comes to clothing. Sometimes people like their sweatshirts to be super soft. Some people like them stiff. Some people like them tight. Some people like them loose. I don't want to get all into that. Okay. I mean, I just don't. So I tell people, you go get what you want. Take a picture of it. Make sure it's a mixed blend. And I'll let you know if it can be embroidered. Sometimes they come with some really thin material. I just double up on the stabilizer and stuff like that. But, I work with the customer, but all in all, Marlene, I'm with you. Let them bring to you the items. All I say is tell me where you got it from, because if I mess it up, I'll replace it. That's what I do. Tell me about it. Stay away from the submit order button. Hey Cindy, need to say good night. I'll catch you in the replay. I really enjoy your life. Have a good night, Cindy. I think I'm up to 800 spools of individual colors. I believe it. I'm up there with you, Bob. Let's see. What else? Hey, Peggy, how are you? How you doing? Hey, Nancy, how are you? She's running late tonight. Oh, hey, BT Marketing, how you doing? Let's see. Oh, I talk to customers while driving or in the shower, sometimes at 4 a.m. I'm waking up to talk to a customer about big orders. Same here. Not in the shower, though. I'll tell them I'll call them back. But it's a 24/7 shop, because sometimes they can't. There's certain times they can't talk to you because they're running their own businesses as well. So like I said, you got to work with your customers and stuff like that. You can have it your way, but not all the time, especially if you really want to run a business, because the thing is, you got to accommodate your customers, and stuff. Let's see. Let's see. I'm going down. Hey, McFake, how are you? How you doing? Let's see. Oh, I had a friend and family ask me to do stuff. Not a single one took my prices seriously. And they all kind of stopped talking to me for a while afterwards. Bob, I'm with you on that, but this is how I look at, the thing is, a business is a business. And if, what happens sometimes is that friends knew you before you started the business. So what they look at it as a hobby, they don't look at it as something that's serious. And I think me and Nancy talked about this a little bit, like she's got her channel. She is really focused on her channel. She does it Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock. She loves doing that. She's always thinking about what's going to be the next project that she's going to show, teach people and all that kind of stuff and everything. It's a business. Running a YouTube channel is not easy, okay? A lot of work goes into it. And sometimes people, they need to learn to respect that. So it's like, don't bother her during that time period. She has to focus on her stuff. And I feel the same way with me. It's like, when I have a bulk order, I have to focus on my bulk order. Don't bother me during that time, because I have to pay attention to my machines. I don't turn them on and walk away. I turn them on and I'm standing in this room all the time until it is done. because I can get a snag or something like that, and I have to be there so that I can stop the machine and redo or fix whatever issues. And the thing is also is sometimes people will ask favors and they don't respect the craft. They think that because you had a relationship with them, that it should be automatically free. It's not like that. So I always say the worst customers are family, friends, and sometimes neighbors can be your worst customers, because everything is great until something happens. And when something happens, everybody's feeling some kind of way, right? Because like right now, you even said they stopped talking to you for a while. Why? Because they feeling some kind of way, because they're probably looking at it like, seriously, but they love the item, so it's like, and to me, I even go a little bit deeper. Maybe I shouldn't, but I kind of look at it as, I find it disrespectful. I just do. I find it very disrespectful, because the way I look at it is, it's what I do, it's my time, and I put a lot of energy and effort to provide you a service. And I took it seriously enough. And then if you don't want to take it seriously enough to do what you're supposed to do, which is pay what everyone else is paying and stuff. I mean, there is no such thing as a family discount or friend discount in my book. Okay. I mean, it is what it is, because the work hasn't lessened just because I know you. It's still the same type of work. Okay. So if I already set prices because I want to be fair, okay, to customers, I'm being fair to you too. So it's like, okay, so you want the item, but then you want to give me nothing. So I'm supposed to feel good. You don't even care how I feel. So that's just how I am. That's how I feel. So that's why I'm kind of very worried about it. Sometimes I'll do things as a gift, and it's just a gift because I'm like, okay, let me do this for someone, like my stepson, he has his own business and stuff like that. He was just starting out, so of course cash flow is low. So I told him, I said, give me your logo, and as a gift. Okay. And I'm telling you, as a gift. So it's not like he asked for it. I just went and I gifted it. I asked for his size, and I bought him a whole bunch of uniforms and all that kind of stuff. And I embroidered the logo for him so that, as a gift for him to start his business and stuff. So I'll do that sometimes for people that, that I love and that I'm really proud of them. And I want to help them celebrate a certain accomplishment, but it's a gift. Okay, it's a gift. But if somebody asks me to do something, I'm kind of like, okay, well, this is how much it's going to cost. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to treat you like a regular customer. You know what I'm saying? So it is difficult. It really is. It can be a sticky situation. It truly can be. Marlene said, I try to take orders at my pace, and you should. You really should. Like to have the flexibility to travel when I can't without letting customers hanging. Which is, yeah, you set your schedule. And that's why I said I have like a little schedule book. And I know when I want to take time off, and I take it off, and I make sure that I don't schedule during that time frame. But I also like to be realistic, and I like to let the customers know I don't take orders and then say, okay, I'll get back to you. No, I take the orders, and usually what I'll do is I'll tell them when they can expect to have the orders for pickup. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll add an extra day or two, because you never know if something can interrupt you from embroidering it or something, some emergency or something like that. And then usually I'll have the embroidery done ahead of the time that I told them that I'll have it done. That way they have the option to pick it up earlier. And if something happens, then I have that buffer time to finish the project for them. So that's usually how I do it. Hey, Jackie, how are you? How you doing? Hey, Gail, how are you? Let's see. Hey, Marlene. I am learning to say no to some jobs. If I feel that it's out of my league, I refuse to do it and explain why. There you go. Not every job is meant to be done, you know? Um, I like that Spanish saying, there's no hair on your tongue. Oh my God. Etsy allows up to 20 photos per listings now. Such a relief for me. Marlene says she's on the HOA in her community. Thanks for that. I will stop at HOA. 28 Wonder Woman Kate. Okay. More power to anyone that lives in an HOA. Couldn't and wouldn't be me. Yeah, there's some people that just don't like it. But I'm okay with it. I never really had an issue with it, you know. It can be kind of challenging sometimes, but I don't know, me and Fred seem to be okay with it and stuff. We just went through the process of getting our roof approved because I need a new roof because we had some roof damage and I wanted to change the color, and I just filled out the paperwork, told them what color, gave them options that I was thinking about. No problems. Even when I told them about the business, no problems. I've never had any issues with them. I really didn't. They are so nosy. Sometimes it's a deterrent living in an HOA. Too many rules and regulations. They can have a lot, but the thing is, this is really how I feel about it, folks. You know, when you're moving into a community that has an HOA, and before you accept, okay, they give you the book, so you know what the rules are. Okay, you know it's there. Now, if you didn't read it, that's on you. Okay, but you know what the rules are. So when we moved here, yeah, it was an HOA community and all that kind of stuff. My old one was an HOA. They gave us the booklet. We read it. We understood it. I was fine with all the rules and stuff. And I even knew about having a business here and all that kind of stuff. And I was fine with it. It wasn't an issue for me. So yeah. But it can be, you know, a lot of rules and stuff. But the thing is, if you don't agree, then really that's not the area for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something, you know, it's everyone's different. Some people like not to have an HOA. So they you know, because they want to just be, you know, just do what they want to do. And that's fine too, you know. She's also at a 55 plus. Yep, loneliness is the biggest thing. I go months and only really interact with cashiers once or twice, maybe a few conversations with my mom. No matter how easy the job is, this will make it hard. It's true. Yeah. And this is something that is really never spoken about. A lot of people don't talk about that it really takes you, it kind of removes you from the social aspect of life. So it's like you really have to be conscientious of it and do what you can so that you don't extract yourself from society altogether. Because, you know, everyone's different and stuff. I like to talk to people. I like to meet people. I am very sociable. I can be shy at times. Maybe, I don't know, but you know, it's, you know, it can be different, so you got to really be careful with that. So, you know, that is something, that's why I wanted to bring it out, because it is something that a lot of people have to think about. And Marlene says that she goes out with friends and attends some events and go golfing. There you go. So you want to make sure that you have stuff to do and stuff like that. And here she also says, went to Hobby Lobby, lunch with a friend, had a great time and conversation. And I do that as well. You know, you always want to make sure that you always do that. Hey, baby giant, how are you? How you doing? My friend does a one-of-a-kind newborn baskets with outfits that she creates. Beautiful things. Oh, don't forget to give Jeanette a thumbs up. Yes, guys, if you really like today's topic, please give me a thumbs up. It helps the channel a lot. It really does. Hey, oh God, I'm gonna mess up your name. Dubaraki H. I'm gonna say, hey H, how you doing? From Canada. How are you? Welcome. Hey, Miss Rita, how are you? How you doing? My brother 1050 probably needs a new board. When I turn it on, it stays idle for a while and I press, it goes anywhere on the screen. It does not come live. It's frozen. My money needs to make a call to repair. These machines can get expensive. And a lot of times people don't realize that, it's like, it's not just the cost of getting the machine, it's servicing and repairing as well. So there's a lot of hidden costs in the world of embroidery that people sometimes it kind of bites you, and stuff. So hopefully it's not as expensive, Marlene, to repair and stuff. Cause I tell you, it's like that, let's see. I'm gonna go down. Hey, Debbie White, how are you? How you doing? What's the name close to another I don't know about? What if the name is too close to another name that you didn't know about? Well, if you're talking about the copyright, this is how I look at it. Just be real careful. Even when things are very, very close, they can still sometimes say copyright. So you got to be really careful. You really do. Let's see. It's funny you said that, Jeanette. My sewing machine wasn't sewing, and all it needed was some oil. So, lady, make sure you oil. You oil your machines. Read your manual first. Yeah, you got to take care of your machines, guys. It's like a car. It really is. Think about it. You almost pay for it like a car. Some of these things, these machines are not cheap. There are lots of people selling copyrighted items on Etsy, but that's survivorship fallacy, because there's probably 50 times the amount of stores that have been closed for copyright, and you don't see them. Yes. Don't think that if you have something out there that's copyrighted, that you're not going to get caught. The way I look at it is, you just haven't gotten caught yet. They haven't found you yet, or they haven't honed in on you yet. The time may come. So just do the right thing and you ain't got to worry about it. But Bob, I agree. I see it all the time. I see people with Disney stuff, Harry Potter stuff, and I'm kind of like, I don't know. Even like if you're sewing items and you have those types of copyrighted characters on it, it doesn't matter that you bought the fabric and you actually sewn the bag. The bottom line is that it's not an item that is made from Disney. And from what I heard also is that Disney is being so strict that they're not even allowing people to go into their parks that have items that are copyrighted. Okay. Like, so you got to be really careful. You know what I'm saying? You really, really do. That's right, Jeanette. Do it right the first time. No worries later. Yeah. That's really how I feel. IRS rules are geared to help businesses. W-2 employees pay the highest. Big board. If you could sue for trademark infringements, they can't look at everything you made and take it back. Yes, that's true. It is not something that you want to experience. That's all I want to say on that. You do not want to go through that. It can get very ugly. It's going to turn into a very stressful time, and it can be very costly. So the way I look at it, like Debbie said, they can go back. That can cost you some money. So if you really think about it, you started this business so that you can get an income, so that you can help yourself and your family. Now you're going through a lawsuit, and now guess what? It's going to hurt your family. So you don't want to place yourself in that position. You really, really, really don't. Well, that's like the Saints catchphrase. Who that? People say New Orleans, but the Saints tried to trademark the saying. They couldn't. They could not trademark it though. Considering all the new features the 10 needle has and all the new features of the Avenir, the only reason they make something without new features is because it's cheaper for them to make. That's true. Very, very true. Referring to the current that you have with the camera feature. Let me tell you, I love that camera feature, Bob. I tell you, the 10 needle machine that has the snowman, I use that all the time. Oh my God. Love it. Love it. Love that thing. Hey Sharon, how you doing? Welcome. Hi Joyce, how are you? Just left my ESG neighborhood group meeting, and we made kitchen towels with toppers. Oh, that sounds cool. Support your local quilt shop or they will go away. Yes, and you don't want that. You really don't. Or at least I know I don't want my local shop to go away. Didn't Michaels buy Joann's fabric? I heard that they're going to have in-store and online. Kristen, I believe they did. I believe that they did do that. But the thing is that at least with the Michaels, I mean, because, you know, Michaels is different in all the states, right? Sometimes there's a small Michaels and a medium size. Some Michaels can be really huge. The one by me only has like two, you know, really one aisle, and it has fabrics on one side, fabrics on the other, and that's it. That's it. And so it really can't really compare to when we had Joann's, that you will walk in. The whole store had wall to wall, nothing but aisles of fabric. So, I mean, I don't know if the intent that Michaels has is that one day to get to that point, maybe they want to make their stores bigger so that they can accommodate more of the fabric. Not sure. I know that they are starting to put more fabric on their shelves, but the one by me hasn't really grown that much. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take a little ride out there to see tomorrow. But I only saw like one on each side. So it's not really like huge. So yeah, but I believe they did acquire Joann's, but the amount of fabric that they have isn't, you know, a lot. Like Hobby Lobby seems to have a bigger section, at least where I live, than Joann's. So yeah. Let's see. They did and have more variety fabrics. They're still stocking the shelves. Yeah, so hopefully I'll have more. You know, they'll have more as time goes on. They're just starting out, so I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they're testing the waters to see if the customers will go out and buy the fabric from them. I'm not sure if they're testing it out, but you know, I mean, I know that the need is there, you know, because where all the quilters going, you know, so yeah. Hey, Miss Martin, how are you this evening? Oh, Jenny said, in the past 2 weeks, we've been having my bedroom remodel, which is my craft room. Super excited. Oh, so that means someone's going to have a new, loving this topic, Jeanette. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you like it. Let's see. And I think I'm at the end of the chat. I am. So guys, that is it. All right. So, guys, so like I said, just a little recap of the announcements that I said before we call it the night. I am going to post the link for the gift exchange if you guys are interested in joining. It's going to be on Monday, which is this coming Monday, October 20th. And registration for the gift exchange is going to be open until October 31st. And October 31st is going to be locked out. Then the drawings will be made. Everybody's going to be matched up, and then we are good to go where we can all make something for someone. And all the gifts have to be mailed out by December 1st. So that's going to be a lot of fun and stuff. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed the topic that I presented to you guys this evening. I hope it was helpful, especially for you guys out there that are really looking into running an embroidery business from your home. There are, to me, running an embroidery business from the home is pretty good. Because unfortunately, the storefront aspect is very, very expensive. Okay. Paying rent and all that kind of stuff and everything. So it kind of helps you a lot with, controlling your overhead. You won't have that cost. It's not too costly of overhead. You just have to make sure you got your business insurance, all your licenses and everything in place. So that way you can run your business successfully. But I really believe that running it from your home, if you have the space and your family's okay with it, and your neighbors and all that kind of stuff, it's really the way to go. It really is, because it would be the most profitable for you. So I hope you guys did enjoy this topic. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I will be posting another video. I have a video that's coming up for you guys. I'm going to be posting it on Sunday. I'm editing it right now. It's going to be on something that you guys can do to save on stabilizer. So it's really short video and stuff, because I was working on a bulk order and I was able to find a way to just save on stabilizer. I wanted to share that with you guys, so that way, you guys can save a little bit of money. Everything's going up but the check. I keep saying that because it's true, but, stabilizer and everything is going up, and we want to make sure that we keep that money in your pockets. So I will talk to you guys later. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy. And I hope I get to see some of you guys tomorrow, if you live in Northern Virginia, at Susie's Quilt Shop tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. And we're going to be talking all about applique. So I will see you guys later. You guys have a great evening. Take care. Happy sewing, happy embroidering. And I will see you guys next Friday. So you guys have a good one. Enjoy those machines. Take care. See you soon. Bye.